Imagine a human settlement, a bunch of people finding themselves together. You can think about prehistory, at the end of hunting and gathering, people on an area. Because I'm writing on a blackboard, which is two-dimensional, I might as well make a drawing that's two-dimensional, which is a rectangular area. And this area has the size h times L. H is the dimension drawn upward, and L is the other one. Gravity is not an issue here. Everything is on the flat land. And on the area, there are people everywhere. Present-day version of this area is the rectangle of the Atlanta airport. It's populated by folks, individuals, all in a hurry, wanting to have access from any point to any other point. Get the idea of access? You've been in that position. But you see, nobody's bumping into anybody else in Atlanta. And you'll discover very soon why. Why? Because, well, you'll see, okay. The most important point on the rectangle is right here. That is the terminal, also known as the meeting point. And access is measurable. There are many ways to measure access. Today, of course, you can put everything in terms of money. But before money, there is, I mentioned people being in a hurry, time of movement from origin to destination. So, and that's purpose. Faster. So time of movement or time of travel from one point to another is the chief concern. Again, going back to Atlanta Airport, which has not changed since it was unveiled. That was in 1955, when there was no commercial jet aviation. Well, the designers of that airport built it the right way. You'll see very soon the right way. This is the one I just drew. Because they had idea or vision or imagination. And the way I teach what I'm not sure occurred in the minds of those people is to imagine the effort or the travel time required of the person with the worst position on the area. And the travel time between that point and the meeting point, or in the opposite direction, can be calculated. Clearly, if everybody walks on top of everybody else on this area, there's no room for airplanes. You need airplanes on the same area, therefore have to create spaces like if the people moving are the rivers of people, then you must have river banks on which the airplanes would be parked. So this leads to the concept of concourses. And also, obviously, by the time of 1955, people had discovered vehicles with wheels, meaning things that were running much faster than the horse. The horse was already faster than the pedestrian. And so, yes, a vehicle on this area, at least one, would do wonders. And so where do you put the one rail? there's an infinite positions for the one rail. You can imagine vertical, diagonal, all of that. Clearly, the best for everybody is if you put the rail, if you align it with the longer of the two axes of symmetry. So that would be the rail, and the rail is different than the concourse because along it, the speed, which could be in the direction of movement, is not the issue here. What has directionality is the change in the design, you see, not the direction in which the water flows where the people are moving. On the river basin, you have the same design, speaking of collecting the water into the big river and then distributing the water from the big river to the delta. It's the same design. It looks like the retina. So that's the speed along the channel is V1. And then the people who are not riding on a train are walking on the concourses at a lower speed called V0. And I'll put that speed here, V0. So the time of travel of the least advantaged traveler is the time from, let's put this, give the name here, R, T from P to R, plus T from R to M, which means H divided by 2 divided by V0. And this other time is L divided by V1. Oh, what is changing in this design that evolves? Because it was not built. It was evolving in the minds of these people in Atlanta before 1955. The size was known because the land had to be purchased. The shape was not known. So H over L is the degree of freedom. Only one. And you'll see in this course, to learn the art of design evolution, obviously in the direction of better and better design, it pays to start with exercises in which there is only one degree of freedom, so that the lesson is simple and easy to remember. Later in the course, we will go through examples of, let's go hoity-toity examples with 2 or even more degrees of freedom. So the degree of freedom is the shape of this fixed area. In other words, the challenge to the designer is to figure out to make this airport very slender, or more like that. But to be at ease with answering right away that kind of question with, I don't know, but let me figure it out. So, for example, if the concern is to be altruistic and be nice to the traveler with the worst ticket, well, the answer should be available here. The penalty is given by this expression, in which both the height and the L are variables, but they are not independent variables. They are constrained, the H and the L, to amount to this fixed product all the time. And that means that this penalty has only one variable, which I'll show. Let me see how I did it here. Yeah, I'll show it immediately by replacing L with A over H. And now H varies. And the value of this penalty can be big or small, depending on how these two boxers are fighting in the ring, because when H increases, the first term increases and the second decreases. When H decreases, it is the second term that takes over. Meaning that, and now we're going to learn how to count in Latin. You learn that there are two and years prior, I would ask the students if they know how to count in Latin. Yeah, I mean, Latin obviously is where the 1, 2, 3 come from. No, you count in Latin by writing Roman 1 and Roman 2, okay? There are two terms that knock heads this way. If the total travel, the penalty, let's call it, is that, and the variable is H, then Roman 1 is clearly proportional to H. Roman 2 is inversely proportional to H. That curve is called the equilateral hyperbola. It looks like this. It's symmetric about the diagonal. And so that's 1, and this is 2. And the object of the game, this is back of the envelope stuff. You don't even have to write it down. You just look at the expression. What? Because remember, time is money. You've heard that. Is the sum of these two. And the curve, you don't need a computer to draw it, looks like this. And that tells you that the optimum, the word means the best, is located, even though you don't know the curve, it is located sharply at the intersection of the asymptotes. So you get it by setting 1 the same as 2. By the way, I don't say equal sign because I'm a modest man. I'm not so sure that the intersection of the asymptotes happens at the same H as the bottom of that convex curve. But it has to be in the vicinity of the bottom of the convex curve because the convex curve fits in the armpit of those two asymptotes. That is what this is why making drawings is the definition of civilization. Without drawings, there was no infrastructure, invading the globe. That infrastructure is when they teach you the civilization of all of us. You open any book of history, they don't show you anything except images of construction. Sometimes they show you, because these days you can photograph pages of books, but the books were a few hundred years ago. They did not exist. Papyri existed before that. Very few survived. Before that, there were obviously words chiseled in stone, and then cave paintings, meaning not much. So we write H over 2V0, and then A, no, not, yeah, A over V1H, except that A, of course, is the product HL. And then that means that the answer is that the optimal shape of the rectangle, meaning H over L, should be a number less than 1. Why less than 1? Well, V0 belongs to the pedestrian. This is not a runner. Even without a suitcase, the pedestrian is walking slowly. This is the speed of the train. The train outruns the horse. The horse outruns the walker. And you can plug in numbers, and you find that this ratio should be just like this one. See that? So that is why the beginning with Atlanta airports all over the world have evolved into having this kind of, what's the word for it? Like the city block. This is also how the city block happened. Here are the houses with the lawns. You walk across them to reach the smallest street or the alley to get into your car. All of that's today's design. Before that, there was a horse pulled the carriage on the street. In other words, the airport is a very recent version of a very old design that made sense to many people so that they would live more easily. Now, to begin, first of all, I'm questioning myself when I use this symbol. This symbol means of the same order of magnitude as. So left-hand side, I'm not sure it means equal the right-hand side, but I'm sure it is of the same magnitude. Meaning they're equal within a factor of order 1. You know, maybe 50% off or 25% off, or maybe exactly the same by chance. In this case, you'll see very soon that, in fact, I can give you this problem to try yourselves. That in this case, the intersection of the asymptotes coincides with the minimum or smallest value of numbers on that curve, which would be obtainable from differentiating this with respect to h. So let me clean it up. You see it already. So this is h over 2v0 plus a over v1h. So if I take d, t, pm, dh, I obtain 1 over 2v0 minus a v1h squared. Then I set it equal to 0 because I know calculus. And pulling this h out and replacing a with hl takes me to exactly this value. Okay. So what is the, let's say, footnote to the lesson I just taught? It is that you don't need calculus to discover what to choose. What you're choosing actually is called the result of wisdom, is to place the design between the two extremes, and you're identifying the in-between. And the in-between is available at the intersection of the asymptotes. The asymptotes are easy to figure out and to sketch, and you can get to an answer that's useful even if you don't know calculus. Now, calculus is a lot like literacy. Literacy has spread on the globe. You may think so, but a huge percentage of the global population is still illiterate today. You can figure out which regions are breaking the record in that direction. It's the same with calculus. Calculus has been spreading mightily during the past 200 years. It's being taught everywhere. But my experience with students is that fewer and fewer know it. And they know less and less because today there's a software that liberates one from having to do calculus on his own in quiet solitude, without props. And that is, frankly, not good. Not good. Somebody bombs all the power plants and there's no power coming out of the outlets. Good luck to you when you plug your thing in order to use that software. So I want to talk about bad jokes. That is a bad joke. All right. One more thing, which I will not put on the blackboard because I don't want to clean it again today. What about the other people? Meaning the people more fortunate than this person here. The ones who are closer to the meeting point. What is the best shape for them? And because I solved that problem because I question all over, and I question myself, meaning, is this good enough for the population at large? It turns out the answer is yes. It's yes exactly according to this version of the exercise. And the reason is the following, and this is something I've not drawn before, and I'll do it without squirting water. So, we're here. With the train on this line, meeting point here, and any person, let's say person you, capital I, and this person will have to walk and then get on the train, you see. This person will then has its own problem, like the one I solved here. It would be about an area of fixed size of this vertical dimension and horizontal dimension, but fixed area. And then you ask the question, what is the shape that's best for such a person? and you find that it is the same shape as that.
But wouldn't the best shape really just be like a diagonal rail?
Exactly, yeah, from corner to M, yeah. So, okay, this is what I want to get from you. The mind jumps to the answer without going through the gesticulations of even getting my hand dirty. Okay, so yes, the better position of I would be on this diagonal. So this shape is best for all these people. So that's what I get from imagining a passenger, capital I. And of course the same here. What about the rest of the territory? Forget about the bottom half because it's the mirror image of the top half. Well, the ones who are in this territory are cursed to move, to have a longer travel time because all of them have to do more walking than riding, you see. So these will be the people with the T greater than T, let's call the minimum. The ones under the diagonal are the luckier ones because they do less walking than riding. And for them, it will be T less than T minimum. And the beauty of the drawing is that, first of all, this population is the same size as this other one, the drawing says. And to every single, let's call him lucky person from here, sorry, unlucky person here, there is a luckier one diametrically opposed in this other triangle. And the two added together, they make up for each other. And so when you average travel time over the territory, and then you minimize that with respect to varying the shape, you arrive at precisely the same shape. And that means the following, and this is worth remembering in English. If this first solution was from the point of view of pleasing or being nice to the least advantaged traveler, I call it the altruistic method or design. This other one, where the point of view comes from every individual speaking up, say in the city council, is the egotistical approach. And you discover that the answer for the poorest position is good for everybody in the discussion. And it's not a coincidence. In fact, the fact that is the same design that satisfies everybody is the physics of this. Let's call it natural agreement between individuals who are obviously by definition different from person to person. Get it? So keep that in mind that design or decisions, in this case social organization, happen, and they happen in a good direction without being commanded from above. Nobody came from somewhere, I don't know where, to say the design should be this, except of course the bad architects and the I won't go into the history of bad infrastructure. It's much better when you begin with a design that's free to change, free to change. Thank you.